Welcome, one and all, to Pacific414 episode review. I am your host, Mike, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the third and final chapter to the War for Cybertron series on Netflix. That would be Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom. Now, Kingdom picks up right where Earthrise left off, with the Ark and Nemesis heading down toward Earth. Both ships end up crashing. The Autobots meet the Maximals, the Decepticons meet the Predacons, and I'm not talking about the ones who combined into Predacane. I'm talking about the Maximals and Predacons from Beast Wars. The search for the Allspark continues. We learn a future where Optimus is corrupted and is now a nemesis. And I'm not talking about the Decepticon ship either. We also learn that peace will come to Cybertron, but how long will that peace last? And with this third and final installment of this trilogy, I thought it was a great wrap up to this trilogy. You, again, like I said in the opening, you got to see Optimus and Primal team up for the first time. We learn about Optimus's future, where he becomes Nemesis Prime, and what factors into that is Optimus is actually a servant of Unicron in this alternate future. This alternate future, which Galvatron is trying to prevent from happening. Megatron from Beast Wars presents his namesake with the Golden Disc. Now, if you're familiar with that story arc on Transformers Beast Wars, which actually is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year, you know that the Maximals on board the Axelon chased the Predacons off of Cybertron because Megatron from Beast Wars stole 2 Golden Discs. Well, in this iteration, it's 1 Golden Disc. Now, there are some similarities as to what happens, especially after Starscream and Black Arachnia team up to try to find out information on this Golden Disc that only responds to Megatron, that is Decepticon Megatron's particular Energon signature. Well, what ends up happening is that Golden Disc is broken. The Maximals and Autobots team up and they are able to locate the Allspark. We see Dinobot, and Dinobot, true to character, is more concerned with honor, and he knows what's happening isn't right, especially following the allegiance of Predacon Megatron and team up with the Decepticons. We meet this series iteration of Rhinox, Rat Trap, Cheetor, Tigertron, and Air Razor, and they're all done very well. We see an interaction with Astro Train. You know, Scorponok is in there. There are 2 Scorponoks in this particular trilogy. One in Earthrise is the G1 style of Scorponok. The other is the Beast Wars incarnation of Scorponok. So we meet the latter incarnation in this series. The Autobots are able to recover the Allspark, and the Ark, well, the Ark is having trouble after passing through the dead universe, but there's a reason. The dead universe provides a glimpse of alternate timelines, and in one alternate timeline, and it actually happens in the final climax on Earth, where the Ark is now a sentient being and can transform thanks to the help of the Allspark. Now, I know this isn't a complete detailed review, and I know I'm not going through it point by point. I'm giving you my instant reaction to the series in this particular video. And what I thought about it is I liked this third chapter more than I liked Earthrise. I thought Earthrise was a little slow, but this chapter, it was good. It was very good. You got to see a team up of Black Arachne and Starscream being cunning and doing shady things behind the scenes. You still got the story arc of Dinobot being one with honor and knowing what he's doing is wrong. You saw an interaction between the two Megatrons, and one just kissing up to his namesake while his namesake wants to try to prevent events from the future from actually occurring, even if it means the destruction of Cybertron itself. We also learn of Optimus Prime's guilt when he finds out what happens to the Autobots who are left behind on Cybertron. As a matter of fact, we find out what happened to the population on Cybertron in the aftermath of Earthrise. You know, that pretty much grinds it home for what the story was trying to tell. And in the end, this was a great wrap up to the series, and I'm sorry for not giving away any spoilers, at least too many spoilers in this one, but I want you all to go see this for yourselves to see how a property can be properly handled by those in Netflix and also those from Hasbro. Taking bits and pieces of the different lore of Transformers, whether it be G1, the comics, and like I said in a previous review, it takes a little bit from the comics, and then of course some from the various series, but tries to combine it and make its own continuity, which I thought it did pretty well. When the Autobots return to Cybertron, it's a barren wasteland. It's basically a nuclear ice age by the time they get back. So that is a minor spoiler right there. And of course, seeing Unicron and his interactions with Nemesis Prime and Galvatron, that was great. This series, seeing how the Autobots and Maximals would interact with one another, and of course the Predacons and Decepticons interacting with each other. Rhinox proving to be the greater of the two when it comes to him and Wheeljack, which really, when you look at the character Rhinox, would be appropriate. He was practically the best of both Ratchet, Wheeljack, and Perceptor all wrapped into one. And of course, in Earthrise, there was a mention of Perceptor. We just never saw Perceptor. I know that really has nothing to do with Kingdom, but I just thought I would throw that in there. So, with this series, it has a lot of action sequences. We learn a little bit more about what's going on with the Maximals, how they ended up getting to Earth, and how their view of the past is compared to what we saw in Beast Wars, where the view of the Autobots was basically highlighted in that series, where in this iteration things drastically changed on how there were once Autobots who became Maximals and Decepticons who became Predacons. All in all, I thought that the team behind this series, the entire trilogy did well, especially for Kingdom. I love seeing little nods to what came before. And I just love this particular trilogy in general. I wasn't sure what to expect when I first saw it. And when I saw the trailer for Kingdom before it came out, I was thinking, so how are they going to, do this with the Autobots and Maximals, Predacons, and Decepticons meeting for the first time? Yes, near the end of Earthrise, we did see Dinobot, and Dinobot being Dinobot is full of honor. I'll definitely let you all know that. And of course, as I've said before, there was some nice interactions between the different characters, and again how they felt about each other. But I really felt that they were trying to drive a point where how when you're looking at the past from a certain point of view, you have one particular picture of it. Meanwhile, you have the past staring you right in the face where they can actually tell you, no, this is what we were trying to do. This is how we thought of it at the time. And now that we see that we did Exhibit A, we need to change what we were doing before so that you have a better future. Especially when you do learn about what happened to Cybertron after Optimus and the Autobots and Megatron and the Decepticons left Cybertron on their respective ships. So, would I recommend this series? Oh, yes, I would recommend Kingdom. If you want to watch it on its own, I think that would take it out of its context. So, I do recommend watching this entire trilogy as a whole. It's going to be 18 episodes of actually good, entertaining television. Yes, there are parts that are slow, but I feel that they're done deliberately to give you kind of a slow pacing in some parts. Now, with that said, I thought Earthrise, even though they were doing it deliberately, I thought certain parts could have been a little quicker, especially when they're in the dead universe. But I understand what they were trying to drive home, especially for Optimus' story arc when Skylinks was telling him about his future. But all in all, Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom is a great miniseries. A great series to catch on Netflix if you have it. If you don't, go to a friend's house and watch it there, or just sign up for a few days for Netflix to watch this series, because this is a series done right, at least from this perspective. Now, will I give my overall feelings on the trilogy as a whole? Yes, I will do that in a future live stream. But I can't say it enough. I really enjoyed this series. I enjoyed Siege, I enjoyed Earthrise, and I enjoyed Kingdom. Yeah, there were parts of it at first that I wasn't really sure about, and some of that does have to do with the choices of, voices for the voice acting. One example is, especially here in Kingdom, I felt that a couple characters could have been switched. I felt that the actor who was providing the voice for Tigertron was better suited for Dinobot, especially after what we got from Scott McNeil in Beast Wars when he did the voice of Dinobot, and of course Gary Chalk as Optimus Primal. Not that the voice actor for Optimus Primal was bad, he wasn't. It's just that you were used to hearing Optimus Primal done one way, and then it's a quick adjustment to listening to another voice actor do his take on Optimus Primal. Now, I will say the one that I thought was sorely miscast, and this is where you needed the original voice actor, was for Beast Wars Megatron. Everybody knows David K. interpretation of Megatron on Beast Wars if you've seen Beast Wars. And just the fact that this this Megatron that we got in Kingdom, just you know, it worked in some ways, but the voice is what makes the character. The voice really is what makes the character, besides his motives. And to not have David Kay delivering the lines, especially when the character, and this is a spoiler, does say yes, but and it's not done in the way that David Kay had done it when he originated the character. So, that is a mark against this series as far as the voice acting is concerned. When you have a particular voice that's iconic for a series, and everybody pretty much quotes the character amongst Transformers fans, it it was just sorely lacking. Let's just say that it's sorely lacking. And of course, you know, Starscream finding out about his future in this series, and and I'm bringing this up because again, the voice actor for Starscream was trying to do his best, Chris Latta, which it is in a way a good and a bad thing. But in this case, there's a certain type of voice for a character, and you want to at least try to emulate it as much as you can. So again, it goes back to Megatron not quite sounding as fans would have hoped. But Starscream, finding out about his future, and of course, Unicron playing a big part. You find out, what Unicron does to Cybertron in the future, and how the Maximals and Predacons are under constant attack by Unicron and his minions. And of course, another part of it is Optimus Prime recovering the matrix of leadership and also bringing the Allspark back to Cybertron. Okay, a couple of minor spoilers, but I don't feel that those will spoil the enjoyment of the series for anybody, due to the fact that I've already said this series is worth watching. It's worth watching because it's done right. It's done by people who have paid attention to the source material, added their own twist, but respected what came before. So all in all, if I was going to give this series a 5-star rating, I know I didn't do it in the previous reviews, but if I was going to give it a 5-star rating, I'd have to say more of a 4.5-star rating, only because you miss hearing David Kaye as Beast Wars Megatron. But again, I can't reiterate it enough. Watch this. It's worth a watch. So that's my brief overview of the series, my reaction to the series, my review of the series. I will be doing an overall trilogy review. Well, maybe not a review. I'll just probably be gloating about the whole thing in a live stream coming up very soon. And I might have a guest join me to talk about things that he loves. It's going to be a fun live stream. Don't know when we're going to do it, but it'll be fun. So, overall, if you're a Transformers fan, and I'm not talking about the Michael Bay movies, if you're a Transformers fan who likes good storytelling, you'll get it from this trilogy. You'll get it from Kingdom, especially. And, you know, if you finally wanted a Transformers story that doesn't involve humans and will actually show from part 1, part 2, part 3 that humans aren't really necessary for a Transformers series, because in my humble opinion, they're not. They're not essential to the overall story between the Autobots and Decepticons. You can see in this series proof positive that if you do it right, humans can be left out of a series and you can just focus on what you're here to see, and that's the battle between the Autobots and Decepticons, along with the Maximals and Predacons. Do I think that there's going to be a continuation of this series? I will say that they leave that up in the air at the end, so it all remains to be seen what Netflix and Hasbro especially want to do. So this is my review for Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom. Thank you all very much. Okay, some might say it wasn't much of a review, but I just want to let you know that after watching it, I do recommend it. I can't say that enough. I can't say that enough about this series and how much I highly recommend it. So go watch it whenever you get a chance. If you are a fan of Transformers, even if you're not, you might actually find things that are enjoyable about it. So thank you all very much. Hope you all have a good day. If you like this video, please give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends. Leave a comment down in the comment section below. And if you like the content you see here on this Pacific414 YouTube channel, well, please give it a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, and have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, or whatever. Thank you all. Have a good day.